Alright, so I have to come clean. I really struggled to sit down and record this episode today. It's not that I don't want to hang out with all you lovely people. Nah, knowing you're out there, serving you, knowing you're generous enough to give me a little bit of your very valuable and limited time is truly among the greatest blessings in my life right now. But like I said, I was struggling to show up this week. You know why? Because I'm human. So today, we're talking about how we're just that. We are human. Even though we are Christian women leaders, we are just as human as anyone else. But sometimes we just don't allow ourselves to be. Welcome to the Grace-Filled Leader Podcast. Do you want better work-life balance? Do you get stuck in patterns of perfectionism and people-pleasing? Have you always been an overachiever but never really felt good enough, no matter how much outward success you achieve? Do you want more time for the things that matter most? Well, you are in the right place. Here on the Grace-Filled Leader Podcast, we focus on spirit-driven success and share the secrets to having better work-life balance as a busy woman in leadership. Here you will learn how to set boundaries like a boss, find peace of mind, and reclaim your time for the things that matter most. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, leader, and certified Christian life coach. For most of my life, I tried to find worthiness through achievement. I spent decades people-pleasing and pouring myself into my work. I was looking for my value through the approval of others. This led me to feel burned out, empty, and exhausted. I had no time or energy for myself or my family. I realized that I was wasting time and energy looking for validation in all the wrong places. But my life changed when I finally surrendered and God showed me a different way. It is my mission to help you start living the abundant life God has for you. If you're ready to become fueled by grace and find freedom from people-pleasing, if you're ready to multiply your time and impact as a Christian woman in leadership, this podcast is for you. Roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to get after it. Life and leadership get really hard sometimes, my friends. For whatever reason, I'm in a season of struggle in my leadership, if I'm going to be honest. That being said, it's the knowledge that you are out there and tuning in each week that keeps me showing up. I'm not joking. Not just on this podcast, but very often in my day job too. And let's be honest, my day job is certainly a source of content for me. The past several weeks have been shining examples of my humanness. And much like many of you, I sometimes struggle with perfectionism. I want to show up and have all kinds of wisdom to share with you. I want to share the successes that come from doing the work that I talk about on the show. Well, spoiler, I'm not perfect. I am human and I don't always live up to my own expectations. But isn't that real life? It certainly is real life for me, and I'm pretty certain it's real life for you. Here's some truth for you. I haven't enjoyed my leadership lately. Now, while there are always some glimmers in the day, moments of blessing, I've had a hard time focusing on those. The struggles and the frustrations have seemed to outweigh the successes and the confirmations. I have felt ineffective in being able to prevent difficult change for my people. I've felt discouraged by people who just never seem to be happy, no matter how hard we try to support them. In many ways, I have felt invisible as the leader I've always known myself to be. When it comes to this show, my coaching business, and maintaining my home, I have felt equally discouraged. You see, things just have not gone according to my plans. I had all kinds of plans for things that I wanted to accomplish and get in order, and only a very small fraction of them have come to fruition. Now, I just want to pause a moment to tell you why I share all of what seems to be one big pity party. If that's true, I apologize, and I hope that I redeem myself before the end of the show. I share what I share today more as a validation and an encouragement for you. There might be some of you that come through 100% of the time and keep it all together all of the time. But I bet that's not true for all of you all of the time. In fact, for those of you who appeared to keep it all together, I bet there are ways in which you struggle in silence. You know why I know this? Because you are high achievers. You are approval seekers or people pleasers or perfectionists somewhere deep down in your patterns of thinking or behaving. You don't like to let people down. You are servants at heart. Bottom line, you probably put too much on your plate and you set expectations for yourself that are unrealistic in the long game of life. I love you so much because I know you so deeply. So please keep listening. Even though this really seems like it's all about me, it is intended to be a message for you, sister friend. Here's why I didn't live up to my expectations in recent weeks. Now, over the holidays, I had actually done a lot of my podcast work in advance, so I did start out on the right foot in many ways. I did this specifically so that I could unplug a bit and just spend time with my family when I wasn't at work. This part I am very happy about, and in the past, I would have focused on all the wrong things out of a sense that I have to have things in order and be accomplishing things. But having taken some time away from work and focusing on my family, I let things go a bit. I didn't stay on track with my plan to declutter, at least not to the degree I thought I could accomplish. And I didn't keep my house in perfect order. Not that I generally keep it in perfect order. But I thought I'd be able to catch up on some of those things after the new year. Well, here's where my plan starts to fall apart. Some unexpected and unfortunate events were taking place at work that occupied a lot of my mental energy. I spent a lot of time worrying about people, how they were, what they were thinking and feeling, the implications for me and how they saw me in my role. This mentor hamster wheel really depleted my physical and mental energy when it came to my household duties. I really couldn't concentrate, and I was really tired when I got home at night. Therefore, I did the minimum. For the most part, I made sure my family got fed. I tried to keep up with the dishes and the laundry pretty well, and that was about it. The other thing that happened was that I had a surgical procedure, and I think I told this to you last week, that was relatively minor, but not quite as minor as I anticipated. I had thought that while I was off recovering from that, I could get a lot of work done for my show and my business, and maybe even some of the light decluttering that I had planned. Well, I was a lot more tired and sore than I predicted, and just as I was feeling a little better from my surgery, I got sick, and I was really sick. And while I am getting better and I'm back to work, I am not feeling anywhere near 100%. So, I did nothing that I intended while off work. And now that I'm back to work, I have even less energy than I normally do. I can barely make it through the day. I have no desire to cook, so sometimes it's frozen pizza or takeout or a hunk of meat and a bag salad on a really good day. My Christmas decorations are still up. I've been going to bed sometimes before 7 p.m. I am just wiped out. I'm not doing my best work anywhere. I'm just getting through the day, it seems. My brain doesn't feel fully functional, so I don't have the bandwidth to do all of the strategic planning and goal setting that I had planned for my business in the new year. It is waiting for the more vibrant version of myself to show up, and she's MIA for the time being. It's kind of strange because it's a fatigue that I just can't seem to push through. Do you know that feeling? Like no level of willpower or digging deep is going to serve me. When the tank is running low, I just need to rest. I otherwise stare blankly at the screen or at the planner, at the paper, whatever it is, it just isn't happening. I am human in the most basic and stripped down sense of the word. If you saw how I looked and what I'm wearing as I record this episode, you would get a pretty clear picture of my reality. Well, I started to get really anxious about all the things I haven't accomplished, and I started to panic, wondering how I'm going to get it all done. Like I said, the mental hamster wheel started to get a good spin going, but then the Lord nudged me a bit with a thought. Why are you so anxious? Why do you think you have to get all of this done right now? And by golly, the answer comes down to the same old thing it always does. Comparison, concern about what people will think, worry that my business isn't going to grow as fast as someone else's, worry that my content isn't going to get as many listens as I had hoped for by now, comparison to how other people's homes look and how well organized and clutter-free they are, that somehow that means that they're a better wife or a mother than I am. Well, all of that stuff is not in alignment with God's truth or His character or what He says about me. And it certainly doesn't align with a 100% authentic trust in His plan and His provision in my life. It is me getting in my own stinking thinking patterns again and focusing on all of the wrong stuff. Am I or am I not going to let God be the CEO of my life and my business? He will provide the time, the energy, and the resources to do what I need to do when I need to do it. When I struggle in trying to labor alone, He will allow me to feel the struggle because I'm not drawing on His strength, His guidance, or His provision. Maybe right now I don't need to focus on the extra. Maybe I need to do the basics and just trust Him for the rest. Maybe He is gifting me a forced rest. If you've heard my backstory, you know that He's done this a few times in my life. Maybe my mind isn't clear and creative because He's waiting for me to let Him fill my thoughts, to guide my plans and my strategies. Maybe He's allowing me to remember that without Him, I am just a human, vastly inadequate when I attempt to forge ahead on my own. Maybe He's trying to tell me that I don't need to know the whole plan. I just need to do what is right in front of me. Maybe He wants me to tell you that you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it all of the time, and you certainly don't have to do it perfect or alone. God does not call us to be perfect. He calls us to be willing and obedient. He intends for us to work when it's time to work, and He intends for us to rest when it's time to rest. Things may not go according to our plans, but they most certainly are aligning according to His grander plan. So I hope that offers just a little bit of encouragement, of validation or reassurance or, encouragement for you when you have your moments or periods or seasons of humanness. Until next time, I wish for you days that are filled with gratitude, peace, and God's amazing grace. I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com podcast.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.